The Vergas Show is brought to you by Spanky Stone Hearth, casual fine dining on beautiful Rose Lake. Vergas State Bank, your locally owned community full-service bank. Vergas Event Center for gatherings large or small, including weddings. Vergas Liquor Store, where all the profits profit Vergas.
Make the right call. Call Hanson's, the most trusted name in plumbing and heating.
Hi, welcome to the Vergas Show. I'm Sherri Hanson. Thank you for joining us today. I'm going to just take a minute to thank our sponsors. You know, so often I hear people say, hey, we really like the Vergas Show and we're glad that we're learning about that and we're glad that that's happening and then you're telling us about it. But it wouldn't happen without our sponsors. The City of Vergas and Vergas Municipal Liquor Store is one of the sponsors. Vergas State Bank, Spanky Stone Hearth, Hanson's Plumbing and Heating, and I think I've got them all. Well, with the City of Vergas Municipal comes just the City of Vergas. And that being said, I do want to highlight that the City of Vergas now has a smart room and an internet park. So if you're planning your meeting or you need something to happen at the Vergas Event Center, you're going to have that capability of the Wi-Fi. And if you're maybe waiting for somebody that's in there and you're parked out back there of the event center, you've got the internet park going on. And so we're just trying to make that accessible to you and just make it a little bit more where you have that Wi-Fi capability. But without those sponsors, and they do shows with us, and you get to hear from them, but any of those shows that are not specific to their business, they're still sponsoring. And so be sure and stop in and thank them. And that being said, I'd like to say that anybody who has something that they would like to promote for the City of Vergas, promote what you've got going on in the community of Vergas, be sure and get a hold of me. We want to be able to highlight that. We want to tell people about it. We want to give you the best exposure that you possibly could have. And this is one avenue and one vehicle to do that. And so be sure and let me know what you've got going on. And I'm going to be doing kind of a little, I don't know if you call it a series, but I'm going to be doing where I want to know why you love living in Vergas. And so let me know if you're willing to come on and just visit about why you love living in Vergas. Is it because you've lived here your whole life, or maybe you're just a newcomer? And as a lifelong resident of Vergas, I'm really curious about those people who move here too, and I think it's a good way for us to get to know you, but it's also a good way to know what attracted you to our community. We love it, you know, those of us that have lived here our whole lives and have chosen to stay here, or else, I don't know, sometimes we don't choose to, but you know, we ended up here, but that's neither here nor there. But those of us that are lifelong residents are really curious, because we do have a lot going on Main Street right now, and it's so exciting. We're just very excited about our new businesses coming in. We're so fortunate for the businesses that have been here forever. How many communities of 300 plus people can say that they've got 4 restaurants right within, you know, a mile distance of each other? And not only the restaurants, but just all the other stores and things that are just awesome in our community. One of the things I want to highlight today is our Vergas Parks. And when you have a natural resource like we have of our lakes, and there's so many of them around, I really think back to those people who had that vision to decide that we needed a swimming beach, we needed a park where people could go and gather as families, have picnics, and just be able to enhance that. Well, the City of Vergas recognizes that they have this natural resource, they have this beautiful park, and that we have to maintain it, and we have to look into the future so that the infrastructure of it and the beauty of it and the usage of it can continue, that everybody can enjoy it. So they've created a park board. There always was a park board, but never just a real designated one. So the Vergas Park Board is comprised of there's residents of Vergas, but then there's also people who live within the district, and they just have a passion, you know, to keep our park going, and there's a board. But one of the things that's happening is the Vergas Park Board is recognizing we need like a volunteer group of Friends of the Park. You hear about Friends of the Park of Maplewood State Park and a lot of your different parks, and so we are putting this out here now today. We're putting it out there for anybody who is interested, and it doesn't mean that you have to come to the monthly meetings, which you're always welcome to. They're always the fourth Thursday of the month. But just be on a list, and so say that we're going to be doing cleanup down there. which not everybody gets into, but that's okay. But I mean, then you're on that list, and maybe you want to volunteer for a couple hours for that. Or maybe when Looney Days is happening, we need somebody down there to help us, get information out or tell people about what's going on at the park, and an hour there. And so if you're interested in becoming a friend of the Vergas Park, be sure and let me know. Let one of the park board members know. It's myself, Carol Albright, Tony Saylor, Steph Hogan, and Sydney Dahlgren. And we're the board that is present right now, and we would just love to hear from you. We've had some exciting things going on with the park board that I want to tell you about. Last Looney Days, we had a gentleman come up to us at the end of I think it was the loon calling, and he said, my kids want a swing set down here. And I'm like, great, we all would want a swing set down here. And he said, here's some seed money, start it out. Well, then the Vergas Community Club had a very profitable Looney Days. Thank you very much, everybody who came to that and enjoyed it. And so then we made the decision, because of that seed money, we threw in an extra $5,000, and we are going to have a swing set that's going to be installed in, I think the 1st of June is when it's going to come down. And this again is where the Friends of the Park could be very helpful. We're going to be looking for volunteers to unload that truck when they come down. And then Tony Saylor, who has some experience in putting swing sets together from being on the Brainerd Parks board, he's going to kind of oversee the project, but we're going to need some manpower, and we're going to put that swing set together. As you drive into the present Long Lake Park right now, to your left, down as you walk down the trail and by the shelter, where the kids are going to be able to swing, and it'll be overlooking the lake. It's just going to be a great place for it, and so we're kind of excited about that. Some of you might say, well, why down there? Why not up by the other playground area? Very good question, and it was looked at. But this brings me to my next exciting thing that's happening with the park board is there's not a lot of space. And so we were so fortunate this year. We contacted the NDSU landscape and architectural professor and said, we have this beautiful park. Are you willing to take this on as your spring semester project? So he brought 16 of his students down on a cold, snowy day. And isn't it great that I'm talking about this right now and it's so cold out, and we can think about spring and summer. But anyway, it was a cold, snowy day, and not one of these kids, not one of his students, had ever been to Vergas or to the Long Lake Park or by the Loon or anything. They looked around, they listened to some of our vision, some of our ideas, and then we said, go with it. And we've gotten 16 different plans back. We've met with the students, we've had some Zoom meetings, and they've presented their projects. We refined them, they presented them again, and we're at the process now that we are at the point where we are narrowing it down, that there's going to be one plan. And I should have prefaced it this way. The park board is an advisory board to the city council. And so things kind of funnel through us. If you've got something with, one of the parks, and it's not just the Long Lake Park, it's your baseball field, it's Tin Can Alley area, it's Peterson Park, it's any of the parks in the area. But if you have something that funnels through there, and then we talk about it, we do some research on it, and then we do come up with a consensus advisory opinion, and then we bring that to the city council, and then of course it has to go through approval there. But the comprehensive plan that the city is working on right now kind of prompted all of this, and so we're going to end up with one plan that we will look at and bring to the city council, and then of course it's going to start talking about funding. What I loved about this is the vision that these kids had. I mean, having lived here my whole life, and your mom would kick you out the door and say, go down to the beach and swim, at noon, and come home when the siren blows at 6 o'clock. I mean, you get pretty familiar with the park, and so your mind is just on that. Their vision and their ideas that they brought forth were things that so many of us had never thought about. The one thing that did come up is like, well, maybe you want to get rid of the loon, and obviously that's not happening. But and so we just reined it all in and came up with just some really good ideas and thoughts. And your grandkids are going to be able to use that park someday, and we want to make sure that it is in top shape and as safe as can be, and they can get down there and enjoy it as much as you did. So I think I'm running out of time for the show today, but I wanted to tell you about the park board. I wanted to think about summer and the warm weather, and I wanted to get that word out there that we are going to be looking for Friends of Park volunteers to just maybe even bring your ideas. Maybe you've got some thoughts that you want to share with us too, because that happens quite often too, and we just love putting all those ideas together. So I hope that you come to Vergas and can enjoy our main street. I hope you can come and enjoy our parks, and all that's going to happen. All the snow is going to melt, and we're going to have some very good days this summer in Vergas. So thank you for joining me on the Vergas Show, and I'd like to hear from you. I want to hear what you got going on. So you have a good day in Vergas.